All right, hello everybody, and welcome to today's episode of H1Z1 Dead Feature Rant. On the top there, you see some awesome folks that you may recognize if you watch H1Z1 shows. That is the A1P1 podcast. We have sitting right up above me is Mishap, and then over on the upper left, we have Thalius. So, you guys, we were just on your show. It was awesome. Glad that you guys are back and up and running again, and glad to have you here.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here. It's good to be actually doing something different for a change, rather than our own podcast.
Yeah.
And at a completely different time to ours, so that's great.
Yeah. As a kind of a play on words, I did About Time for the title for this episode, because, well, not only is it about time, it's like finally early access, but also, they're actually in the future right now relative to us, so... It's it's already tomorrow there. So
yeah, it's 10 past 10 in the morning for us right now. So it's completely off the chart.
Yeah.
How is January 7th?
It's hot, man. It's hot.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
Is it the zombie apocalypse yet? No.
A couple more days, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, I guess for anybody who isn't familiar, why don't you guys give a little bit of an introduction? Thalius, why don't you start it off? Who you are and what you're all about, and all about A1P1 and stuff.
I guess I'm just your average gamer. Very interested in H1Z1, and we decided to bring the word out in our part of the world, and that's why we started our own podcast, A1P1. I'm mainly into survival and crafting games, DayZ, RoboCraft, games like that.
Nice. Yeah, so you've really been enjoying the just kind of the sandbox stuff building up as it has in general then, right?
Yeah, yep.
Very cool. I've been enjoying it too. It's awesome. And Mishap, how about you?
Hey, right, yeah, well, basically, I started out playing Battlefield, like, hardcore, didn't play anything else, just loved it. And then that sort of fell off a bit, and then my brother introduced me to DayZ mod, and I just fell in love with open world, sandbox, do what you want, no rules. Basically, and that's where I've been at from there, playing those sort of games and filling it in with the bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Oh, and the podcast, I stumbled on H1Z1 and was like, this is the game that I've been waiting for or looking for to play. So got involved, got heavily involved on the Reddit, and then thought, let's do a podcast, and then went from there.
Very cool.
So that's it. Yeah.
Very cool. Corporal Hicks, this is Blue Yeti. I'm sure you've seen him on other shows before. So, Reverend Kremchek, we haven't heard much from you. I know you wanted to try to avoid this one and take a little nap break, but not allowed. So...
That was a teaser.
Yeah, I know.
Kidding.
I know. You do stream really, massive long hours though, so I wouldn't.
Yeah.
If you actually
last time a nap was like 12 hours or something, wasn't it? Something crazy.
No, I'm down for a nap. I'm just not going to do it till after this is done.
All right. So, nice. I guess any more relevant stuff since I kind of derailed your introduction there?
Yeah, 96-hour stream on January 15th.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you know, like, what your plan is for the giveaways? Are you going to be doing giveaways during it? Are you going to do it, like, based on people showing up? Or, like, if you died 10 times or whatever?
I think that I'm going to do... I've already given away like 4 or 5 copies of H1Z1. I'm probably going to do a few more during that stream, of course. And then I think I'm going to do some extra giveaways. What I'm going to try to do, if I can find some good deals, is do 1 game per hour. If I can find the right deals.
Wow.
If you can find the right deals, that's tough to come by.
Yeah. So we're going to try to do like 100 games giveaway
That
during
would be
that
awesome.
time frame.
100 games in
Yeah.
96 hours.
Yep.
Damn,
That's hardcore.
that is quite a bit of
That's
work.
the goal. Yep.
Of course, it is going to be a team effort. It's not just going to be you the entire time.
Right.
You're all going to be zombies by the end.
Yeah, we are. And it's going to be totally worth it, though, because H1Z1 rocks! Probably.
Oh, yeah, no, it does.
I know. I know, I'm just kidding. I've played it, it rocks. I'm teasing.
Yeah. All right. So we've got some stuff to get into here. We actually had something we wanted to kind of talk about, a Reddit post that we didn't get all the way into during A1P1 over the weekend. So we're just going to get through it here. And that is Introverted Gamers post the top 5 things they want to evaluate in the early access. And this is the stuff that they're extremely eager to see how it gets played out, and what the developers, what feedback the developers actually use. So, the first question is about what will encourage players to cooperate together. Now, this is a subject that it's come up a lot recently because the idea that it's going to be a KOS fest on day one, yeah, it's definitely possible.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think that. Sorry, but
Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
that's the first probably few hours is what it's going to be, where dudes are literally going to run around, find an axe, craft a bow, and start killing peeps, because that's what they know how to do. It won't be till a little bit later where everyone will go, "Oh, what else can I do? What can I find? What can I actually do here?" Majority of people will be that way inclined, I believe. So that's what. Everyone wants to kill someone straight up. That's what they want to do. So, in
I'll
my
probably be
opinion,
doing it as well.
it's what's going to happen. Not if I get you first, mate.
It
It's
won't
a bit
happen.
hard. Yeah, that's what I think. I believe that. Yeah, first couple of hours, once they get past a few logging in issues, that's what's going to happen. So,
the
yeah.
KOS fest, assuming people can even
Yeah.
find each other
Yeah.
before zombies
That's
and
it.
wolves and stuff find you first,
yeah, and bears.
and bears. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes, bears. Because if a bear finds you, you're basically on your next life pretty soon. They're not
Yeah.
Yep.
very
Good enough.
friendly, and they move really fast. And if they're chasing you down, they're probably going to chase you down. It's a bear, And the one of the things to keep in mind, while realism is something that they're focusing on with the game, it's not like Cabela's Big Game Hunter, where you can actually take down a bear with a bow with a single shot like Sony Shock did. That's not going to happen. It'd be nice if they gave us like a little 2-pixel hitbox right in the middle that counts as a heart shot,
Yeah.
and if you just so perfectly hit it, you take down the bear, otherwise you're dead. I could see that maybe being a thing, but yeah, it'd probably take like a month before someone even discovers that anyway.
Yeah. You don't think that they are OP? The bear. You don't think the bear is OP?
No,
At
it's
the
a raid
yeah.
boss. You get a lot of
Yeah,
materials
I
for
agree.
killing it. Like
True.
that's
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
is it's got all sorts of fur that's going to help with clothing and insulation and stuff, making gear, making
Have you
equipment.
killed one?
I've seen one killed. It took the first time I saw one killed, it took like basically an entire 30 shots from a rifle. And then the second time I saw one killed, it was I think maybe about 6 or 8 shots to take it down. That's still quite a bit in a very limited ammo world.
Yeah, I killed one because it was attacking other people, and I don't remember what I looted off it, or maybe I died right afterwards and I never got to loot it. One of the two.
That's entirely possible. Yeah, so you get that, there's a lot of animal fat that you're going to be getting off of it, and that's useful for a ton of stuff. Especially mixing, I believe it's that and moonshine is basically how you make your biofuel. So, if you've got the brewing things going and you can take down a couple of bears, you can get your vehicles back in action. I'm sure bone is going to be another thing we'll be able to use from them, and of course meat to be able to cook and eat. Have a lot of that bear meat around. They're a top predator, so nice lean meat marbled with fat. But I would imagine they would probably have the most parasites of anything if that's something that would actually be a consideration.
Yeah, true.
Someone likes food when they say marbled with fat.
There's no other way to describe it. It's got the layer that's the meat, and then not the meat, and then meat again, and it's awesome.
No, you said it right. It's just you could tell.
Oh, PS4 after PC launch, they're just now talking about starting beta invites for PlanetSide 2 on PS4. They've said very adamantly they're not going to be doing PS4 until PlanetSide 2 is on PS4. And on top of that, H1Z1 actually has to be ready enough for them to want to move it over too, which probably be not even relative to the PS2 beta at that point. It'd probably be out on PS2 on PS4 full live launch before they would actually consider it for H1Z1, just because it's probably going to be that long before H1Z1 is actually in a ready state where they're going to stop having an alpha or a beta or an early access label on it, and it's just the game.
Yeah, that does come up a lot in Reddit, that question, and I believe their plan's great for tackling it and how they're going to tackle it. They've got a game in PlanetSide 2 that has been around for a couple of years and it is stable and is a good base to try and port over to the PlayStation 4, so that they've said in a stream, it may even been on your own stream, that the process is the same. So they get it happening with PlanetSide 2 and they get it working well and they get the port happening, and then when they know it's working right, then they can do the same thing to H1Z1 when it, I believe, comes out into a full release. They will be ready to just port it over and have the experience and knowledge from PlanetSide 2 to do that.
Pretty much.
Which is great, I think. That's a great way to handle it.
Yep. And the other thing is, it's only going to be one distribution for one console. So they don't have to... It's such a funny thing because SOE and SCEA are both under the Sony Corporation. But for DCUO, and we did talk about this on A1P1 a little bit, they actually have to release the game, like get it approved and updated 4 times every time they do DCUO, because there's the box copies for PS3 and PS4, and there's the digital download for PS3 and PS4, and each one is basically its own license. They're going to make sure not to have anything like that when it gets to console. It's going to be one version, that's it. Maybe 2 versions when PS5 comes in like 8 years.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like you say, when we talked about the patching of a game onto console, it's a massive undertaking. It's not like a PC where you can just make a patch and splash it out there for people to download. It has to go through so many different QA processes to get to being released. So, and it costs a lot of money to do it. It's not free.
Yeah. Kirby B Gaming, H1Z1 DDoS protection, that's SOE DDoS protection. It's the entire company, it's their servers, their network and infrastructure. This is not a game that's being hosted by individuals. If you DDoS somebody because they say, oh, come on my H1Z1 server, you're DDoSing the individual, not a server. It's SOE is hosting everything, so there's really no worry. If one server is down, all their games are down, so, It'll be secure enough. Don't even worry about it.
And you better be ready to get in trouble if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Run and hide, because they will chase you down.
Yeah. We're getting a lot better about detecting that sort of stuff these days. So Bombcha asked Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they said they caught another one of the Lizard Squad guys just recently.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yep.
Well, because there's an
Basically
entire
how
hacking
I've-
squad that's been trying to root them out since they did their stuff. So they're basically
Well, basically
screwed.
how I feel about it is that anybody who's good enough not to get caught doesn't care about what they're doing. And it's probably either working for a company that is making them quote-unquote hack-proof, or as much as possible, or they're into way bigger business than hacking game sites and such.
Yeah, pretty much. Take a bear that's applied to the bunny skin to get the Holy Grail thing going on. I see what you're saying, Bamcha. You know, I'd actually rather love to see the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch as an item we can use in H1Z1. That would be great. It would have to be like a skin for a crafted grenade or crafted explosive, but you know, if they made that something in the game or something the likeness of that in the game, it would be probably the number one station cash skin selling hands down in any SOE game ever made, and probably ever will be. Because
There's always Player Studio as well if they bring that in.
I mean, I'd thought
Well,
about doing it for
that's good
PlanetSide too, but I just never got my skills up in 3D. No, I had the idea, just never had the time. But yeah, that would be lovely. So, things to encourage people to cooperate together. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to it, not just the danger factor, but they may actually start adding things that it's much easier to do with 2, 3, 4 people than doing it by yourself. Let's say you're trying to push a car, or you've got a tree that you're trying to break down for materials. You're probably going to create more heat if you've got 4 people breaking that tree down, but at the same time, you're going to be through it a lot quicker and be moving on a lot quicker. So you'll either realize,
And a lot safer.
yeah, for sure. And having more,
Especially
eyes.
if it becomes a kill on sight, you're going to want more people to be watching your back.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then again, you've got to think about the heat as well.
Yeah, it's I think the heat is going to be an interesting thing. It really is going to chase you wherever you go. So whether you're solo or in a group, there's always going to be something coming your way. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it'd be, I don't know, it'd be fun, I think, because you obviously in a group you're going to create a ton more heat. So, you know, that's quite fun to know that, okay, I'm going to hang out with 3 or 4 dudes, and we're going to, you know, we've got a plan, we're going to do something, and next thing you know, we're like half doing it and half fighting off zombies and other crazed individuals that want to take our stuff, you know, and it'd be cool. I love it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's what I hope happens.
Yeah, it's I mean, people grouping up and just having like a group of just 2 or 3 people around just because they were the first 2 or 3 people you saw. I could definitely see not necessarily like loyalty and bonds forming around that, but just like, yeah, I've dealt with this person for long enough that they haven't stabbed me in the back yet. I think it's fine. And then, you know, you come across someone's like, well, we don't know if they're going to stab us in the back or not, but we have good enough stuff that we should probably just keep it anyway and kill them. So, I mean, that'll come up. Yeah, there's some sort of streaming event happening on Friday. Yeah.
Yep. It's got Co and Me JP on it,
Yeah.
from what I can gather,
Well,
which is cool.
it's all
Last stream
being,
Co did was awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when they started having people coming in last year to do streams, that was really awesome. A lot of people came through. I was hoping to be able to come through last year, but didn't work out. I'm sure I'll be able to come through again this year, but I mean, it's gonna be coming out here pretty soon anyway. But I actually talked to a couple people, and it sounds like it's more on the PR and marketing side. So I don't know how much we're gonna see of the devs themselves, so much as just straight up gameplay.
Yeah.
Which
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Of course, I was a bit miffed that I didn't get picked to do a stream last year. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they would
That's it,
pocket
dude.
the expense, so.
Yeah, that's it, you know, fly me there, set me up, give me a hotel room, comp my drinks, all that. Anyway,
Comp your drinks.
yeah,
That's going to cost more than the plane trip there.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
And then you won't show up for the stream.
Yeah, I've been arrested somewhere and locked up.
There you go.
I'm ringing someone at Sony. Going, how do I get out of here? Yeah.
Smed, bail.
Yeah. I don't
So
think that would happen.
another question from Kirby B Gaming: is it true that this will be a Daisy killer, or are you going to? Nothing is necessarily a killer of anything else. A lot of games have come out thinking they were a Minecraft killer, and they're totally not. There's a lot of reasons why a game that's established just doesn't die. You just can't kill it, and if it's successful, it's just going to keep on, and the more people try out other things and get fed up with them, the more they're going to go back to that thing that's established. WoW is still building on new people. Minecraft is still selling, new copies. Counter-Strike, CS, the Go or whatever, the Global Offensive, that's still getting new people, new users.
Yep.
So
There's no such thing as killing a game unless the game is killing itself.
They even said themselves, the devs at H1Z1, that they're not out to kill DayZ or even. I mean, it's the same genre, but DayZ was the first. And
Yeah.
everyone plays DayZ, and everybody is interested in these type of games because of DayZ. So to
Yeah.
say that you're going to kill it, I don't think
Yeah.
so.
No,
It's
they like
the
DayZ.
original,
I mean,
I play
even if they
DayZ
didn't like
sometimes.
DayZ, they're realistic. That you're not going to go
Yeah.
kill another game. The only thing that can kill a
But they
game is
don't-
itself.
yeah. But yeah, exactly, and they don't want to do that. They're not out
Yeah.
to do that, So
now there's
they
other
want to make their own
things,
game.
like
And if you put that kind of pressure on yourself either way, you're going to fail.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So
I mean,
it's obviously not something
example.
to try to do.
Yeah.
The,
Go ahead.
Example is EA just tried to take on Call of Duty, and look what happened. Legendary mess, like crazy mess. So just
A legendary neuromess.
yeah, probably worse than that actually. And I don't know how to even explain it.
There's a few other reasons why I think DayZ is not really going anywhere. The idea that you can actually own, maintain, and moderate and do whatever, modify your own servers, that's not something you can do in H1Z1. And I'm sure that's going to be something that's going to bug a lot of people. There's going to be some feature they don't want, they don't like, they believe should be removed, they believe should go differently, but they aren't going to have any way to get that fine minutia adjusted for them in any server that they play on. So there's going to be a lot of folks that do prefer more of that, ability for customization to be available, as well as exclusivity, being able to actually, immediately ban somebody. Maybe they're not doing something that actually violates the terms of service, but you just don't like them for whatever reason. You can't really get rid of them. You can ignore them, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So there's definitely that, and then I think DayZ is the one that's all in Russian, right? With the road
Yeah.
signs and everything. So
That is painful. It is painful.
Well-
You're like, where am I? And then you look at the map and you're like, oh, where is that? Like, you have to go to some third-party map and have a look just to see where I am. Like, I don't play it enough to recognize the places from the Russian name.
yeah, and it's one of those things where it doesn't work to just look at it and try to pronounce it.
Oh,
It's an awesome
community has
language.
actually given it. The community has just given it their own names. Like, the big city is called Cherno. It's not called Cherno. I'm pretty sure. Like, that's not the name of it. But that's just an Electro, because it looks like the start of the name is Electro. So that's just what's happened, And
Gotcha.
Novo, because it looks like in English Novo, so everyone just calls it Novo. So
There you go.
that's the one. That's the three I know. The rest of them are doing it.
It's it's definitely a combination. There's other factors, I'm sure, too, why people will probably stick with DayZ or play H1Z1 and then go back to DayZ potentially, or play some of the other ones and stick with DayZ. It's an established game. People like it. They'll play other games, and because they're so used to DayZ, it's like, well, I kind of like the art style for this, but I don't know. I'll stick with what I'm used to. A lot of reasons. So no, I don't think any game is necessarily a game killer. The only people that can kill a game is the company that made it, usually. And oftentimes it's something that's not intentional, but
Right. Yeah. Yes.
So, encouraging players to cooperate. Is there anything else on that subject before you want to move on, guys?
No, bro.
I don't know. It's a bit of a tricky one, really, to implement some type of a system or mechanic that forces or makes you want to have to team up with people. But I think it's just going to come down to the danger of zombies, and especially in larger towns and cities, you're going to need more than one person to go in there and be able to loot it out.
Yeah. Well, I could see them adding things that require 2 or more people as more commonly available than solo items, or maybe they're more durable. Like those giant saws that you have 2 people, holding one end and it's just kind of rowing back and forth. I could see those being more common and more available, and potentially being able to break down the wood and the trees a lot quicker. But the downside is you can't do it solo. You have to have somebody else. So it's like, you need wood, I need wood. Great, let's do this. So
That'd be cool if they had big trees that you couldn't chop down. You needed 2 people, but the resources you got from that were massive. So, let's work together. Let's take this big tree down. Let's get some resources. That'd be cool.
yeah.
I can see that. That would help. That would create a cooperation for people.
And
then I would turn around and bow and arrow you in the face. And take it all.
it's like, hey, you know what I used? I used this wood and I made a club. Wonk. Now it's mine.
Yeah.
Or another one as an interesting way to add like a cheaper fast travel. Those old-fashioned train little car things where you just have the people pumping back and forth. Having something like that would be great. So you found the tracks, you found one of those, the destination, and it's just like trying to make sure that neither of you run out of stamina and that you're both going to stop at the right place.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. So that sort of stuff could be added. It's just adding that sort of itemization, adding those sorts of things in the world, or the one that we were talking about on the show with you guys, that putting up a fence would take 5 minutes solo, or 1 minute with another person there to just kind of help hold things in place.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, things like that will help
And
if they can implement that.
And there was a post on Reddit recently about needing more than one person to craft certain things. So perhaps they could implement something like that as well.
That would make sense, yeah.
I think we touched on that too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Bigger structures. You can't build a 5-bedroom apartment by yourself. You need help. So.
That's a lot of work to do on your own anyway.
Yeah, it would take hours, I reckon.
Hours?
You can do that.
Take months.
You got the time, man. You got the Reverend's got the time, and he'll get a flock happening, and it'll be good.
All
Command
of
them.
the animals will help me.
Building an ark now.
Yeah. Oh man, I could definitely see some interesting things coming out of people trying to group with one another, like somebody walking around with one of those saws saying, "Hey, help me cut down this tree," and then everyone just running away is like, "I don't want to deal with that," or that being the way that you lure people over. It's like you stand over at a tree, it's like, "Hey, I need to cut this down, help me out," and then while the person's helping you out, your other buddy comes out from the tree, is like, "Ah, fool, shank."
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. April Fool.
It's going to be interesting to see whether people come into the game with that Daisy mentality of, can I trust you, or are you going to stab me in the back as soon as I turn my back, or you're going to be friendly and help me out.
Yeah, I see on the QBB Gaming on the chat just said about the Frankie on PC play with game, but Frankie actually did a thing on H1Z1 and he made a really good point, and that was that people play KIS because it's the easiest way to play. It's not hard, everyone can do it, and that's why a lot of people talk or play that way. So maybe people should challenge themselves and try a different style. Yeah.
Oh, I think part of the hope is that it isn't the easiest to KOS somebody
Right.
because the amount of time
Yeah.
and effort it takes to track somebody down and have a weapon in your hand to be able to KOS them, you could have done either way more productive things or you would have already compromised yourself to get up to that point and potentially taken damage or other things. So it's, I can see situations where it might actually make sense to, KOS just because of the situation that you're in and the setting or whatever. But I think it's something that it'll probably be one of the big efforts for them to work out during early access is seeing what can be done to mitigate the kill on sight action and be able to properly make people engage one another and just not be combat all the time.
Yeah. But I also think that there has been so much chat about it and so much talk and so much discussion that people are going to be mindful of it. And, there will be people that just don't care and just want to do it, but there'll be others that are like, oh, let's try something else or let's do something different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Any last ones before we move on then?
Not from me.
All right. So the next question from Introverted Gamer about things they want to evaluate is how the ticket system will work. Now, we haven't gotten a lot of details on it, and they're right that, we could just be jumping to conclusions about it. We have no idea all the systems and the implications of the tickets. We have some ideas. We've been told that there's a reward for it, that it's going to be kind of like Hearthstone arenas, so that when you play it and you participate, whether you come out 0-3 or you come out 15-3, you're going to get some sort of prize at the end of it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the same sort of thing that they're going to be going for, what the types of prizes are, and whether it's an actual physical prize or credit towards a prize or how that's going to work. I don't know, because it seems like they would run out of real cheesy items to give us if we're going and dying on ticket games, like dying in 30 seconds or whatever every time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think there is one cheesy item they could give us, and that would be an in-game T-shirt that says "I played Battle Royale mod and all I got was this T-shirt." That would be cool.
Would it just come in like 200 different colors or something?
Yeah. No, yeah.
And then
Just
you get an
random.
achievement for getting one of every color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they want you to die first. Yeah.
Pick me, no, pick me.
Shoot me now. I need a T-shirt.
People will be racing the cliffs with the vehicles, not to get a better view, but just to die.
to get the T-shirt.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, cereal. No. No. Keep it in your pants. Or keep it. Don't put it in your pants, rather.
Or don't keep it in your pants.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Crap on your chair. I don't care.
Snap one off.
So what is the ideal ticket system for you guys? I guess we'll just go clockwise, starting with Thalius. What would you want to see from the ticket system?
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. I haven't really, because we don't really have any information about it, it's really hard to say. Like some type of a death match and battle royale and stuff like that. I think it'd probably even help with keeping the kill on sight down, because if you've got the need to just want to get in and kill something, you can jump into a death match server with a ticket and kill to your heart's content. As far as rewards and that, it's really hard to think of something that's not going to be considered pay to win as well. So think I'd leave that in the So's hands, and hopefully they can come up with something really good.
For sure. Mishap, how about you?
Well, I hadn't really given it a heap of thought, but I guess the obvious one is the Battle Royale ticketing system. There may be, I don't know, some sort of way where you could put a ticketing system in and have 3 or 4 mates or even 5 mates and a zombie horde that just keeps coming. Because, you know, the server load's low, so you still have to scavenge. You might start with, I don't know, a weapon, you know, maybe an M16 with some ammo, maybe 30 rounds, but you have to scavenge for food and water and how long can I survive? And then at the end of that, depending on how long you guys survive, you may get a reward for doing that sort of thing. I can see that being quite fun. I mean, there are other games that do something similar, but not in a tournament style, but like, you know, just as a game. So I think that would be quite cool.
Sort of like
I'll definitely play that.
Sort of like a PvE. I've lost it now. Wave type style where just zombies just keep coming and coming and coming.
Oh, yeah.
And the last man standing.
You can see that. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, even just as a teamwork thing.
PvE,
like, as
last
a team,
man standing, pretty much.
Yeah. Maybe the last person gets something a little bit extra. Yeah. As for rewards, it's hard because how do you give them something that's going to be really beneficial? And like if I throw down, I don't, as an example, this is not like confirmed, but say $1 a ticket, I throw in $1. What am I going to get back? Am I going to get a cheesy T-shirt, or am I going to get some sort of weapon that I can use? Maybe I could get morning wood, but you know, that's what else can I get? You know?
Yeah.
Can I get? What about skins? Could I get a different skin for my weapon when I get it? Right?
Yep.
Am I allowed to then go? Sorry, go.
I was gonna say I could see a lot of short duration things like with the ticket reward you get access to a specific shirt for 3 days versus if you bought it with station cash you have access for it permanently, or maybe what you're winning are short-term tickets to have access to things or vouchers or whatever to access things. So when you create a new character, you can either use from station cash things that you've already purchased to create the initial look for your character, or you can expend your vouchers that you've gotten from the ticket games to be able to access that stuff, and potentially even some unique stuff that you can only access with the ticket vouchers and you can't access through station cash. And it wouldn't be
That's another thing you might.
What was that?
You might even be able to win another ticket to be able to use again. Even for perhaps second place, you might win a ticket to play again and hopefully get first place.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely, I could see a range where the reward you get is getting a ticket back, potentially that, or that on top of the lowest prize or whatever. There's definitely a lot of ways they can do it, but the main thing for me is that they use the ticket system to really experiment and push the game in completely odd, weird, funny, hilarious different directions. Having one server where instead of it being the normal weather, it's raining anvils. It's like a freaking Acme, anvil factory explode, and they're just flying everywhere. So, every so often an anvil just falls right in front of you, or it falls on top of you. And, surviving in that world and being able to actually build up a shelter and that sort of stuff, it'd be a hilarious challenge. But, at the end of it, you get a very special, like, anvil-shaped hammer or whatever is one of the skins. So when you craft a hammer, you can have it instead look like a metal stick with just an anvil on the end of it. That sort of stuff, or a low-gravity server, or the one I keep talking about, the full-on arcade zombie shooter server, where you just start in a military base and you're all set up with gear. You just go out and kill zombies. I would love to see them really use that ticket system to go way outside, above and beyond the normal scope of the game, the normal rule set, to just get ridiculous with it. Have fun with it.
Yeah, I was thinking, since they're allowing you to either buy tickets or possibly earn them in game, there's not they don't have to give you a prize. necessarily, because you're paying for gameplay or you're earning gameplay, as long as they're giving you a substantially different kind of rule set, something that you're not going to get otherwise, then I think that's fine. Just like Neural said, if they give you some ridiculous things to do, then people will still pay for that, and it's still worth it, especially if you're just able to, if you are able to earn it through gameplay or game time as well. There's no need to say, well, you're going to get a morning wood, you're going to get a different skin if you do this. Just say you're going to have a bunch of time, a lot of time doing this awesome thing. Like, okay, cool. Especially since I earned it by playing an awesome game already.
Yeah. Cool.
Out of the box. They need to be out of the box to get it to work properly, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, any other thoughts on the ticket system?
Wait and see.
Nope.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd love to get more details on it too. We'd all love to get more details on it. It's something they've still been vague about. But anyway, the crafting system. How deep is the crafting system is one of the questions here. And it's actually a pretty deep system.
Yep.
I'm not going to say things have tiers to them in the traditional sense that like there's a low quality versus high quality tier of things. So much as more a hierarchy of what items go into what. You need this, and this before you'll be able to build it up into this, and this, that you'll then build up into this and this, that you then finally merge those last two items to make the door that you were crafting or whatever. That I really like. There's a lot of stuff to it. There's a lot with the discovery. The idea that as the game goes on, there will be not only more items and more ways to make the new items, but there will be way more ways to make the things that already exist as the game goes on. And that'll be one of the things that's constantly being introduced with every content update is a few new recipes here and there, different ways to make something that we already had. Or when a new recipe comes out, a new item comes out, there might be some more obvious ways to approach it, and there might be some kind of hidden recipes that you don't normally have access to until, maybe they'll just unlock them a week later or something, or once enough of them have been crafted. They could do a lot with that.
So we don't
I
like
like it.
crafting 600 greens and then crafting 200 blues and then finally crafting a purple.
Yeah, none of that. Yeah, none of that.
Yeah.
Wrong.
I like the discovery system. I think it's awesome.
I love it.
The way it works.
I'm not a crafter, but in the 10-ish hours I've played of H1Z1, I spent a lot of the time crafting and loving the crap out of it. It was a lot of fun.
You do.
Yeah, it's one of the systems that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Especially
the
just
thing that
enough
really, the thing that really interests me with the discovery and the crafting is knowing I need something else, but not knowing what it is. Like I've got 3 of the 4 items, but what's the 4th one? I don't know.
And then
I
the
might
other
find
question
something else
is, what are you actually making with it?
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
What am I discovering here? Yeah, it's cool. It's like a mystery. Maybe we need to get Scooby-Doo on it. He'll sort it out for us.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun, seeing people running around early on like, dude, I need like one thing, I don't know what it is. Let me just, okay, give me your stuff, and then I'll give back what I don't need to craft this item.
Yeah. By the way, he does all that, and then you go, by the way, my gun's not loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seafort says the crafting system is very similar to 7 Days to Die. I would disagree. I think 7 Days to Die is more similar to Minecraft, and this is not anything like that.
Yeah, this is something where you aren't configuring items in a panel, and that's how you craft it. The discovery system, I would say it's a lot more like Korea. It's a 2D fantasy sandbox that basically does almost the same thing. You bring materials to the research system, basically as a little research panel, and if there's something you can research, you click research, and it lets you know what you've just discovered. and if not, then it'll tell you need more things or different things to do it. So you can just kind of throw items in there for a while and figure out different ways to make things. And because it is the internet, you can also just kind of look on a wiki of all the things everybody else has already found, if that's the kind of way you want to play the game.
So can I ask a real quick question to everyone then is, would you go and look on a wiki to find out how to craft something?
If it's
Not me.
something that is really unbalancing, like I need to be able to make this item, everybody has one, and it makes survival way easier. I don't have one. I know I just need one other thing to make it. Then I would maybe look it up. But if everything's intuitive enough and, things are kind of the base items that you're working with are available enough, I don't really think that would be too much of a problem. I think I'd be able to figure out, enough stuff along the way, or just be able to ask people, hey, how do you do this?
Yeah. I believe I'm the same. If I was really stuck and there was one item that I knew would make my gaming time easier or better, I'd look it up. But generally, I just want to find it for myself, or roll some dude and ask him what's going on. Yeah.
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 And they could also change recipes. They could actually remove recipes down the road, too, to really screw with the wikis and really screw with all of that stuff. It's like, it doesn't take 2 wood planks now. It takes 1 wood board. But you're not going to know that until you research it again.
Yeah.
I think they did say that they were going to do that. They would change recipes and stuff like that. I'm not a real big fan of it. I think once they've got a recipe in the game and people know how to use it, that's how it should be. And then if they want to make another recipe for it, that's fine. But I don't think that they should go and remove a recipe and completely change it so that people don't know how to do it.
Or they could even be changing it so it's a recipe for something different. That it used to be the recipe to make a doorknob, and now it's the recipe to make a sack of doorknobs weapon. I don't know. Sack of doorknobs is an effective weapon, though. Don't get me.
That would hurt.
It would.
That would hurt.
Sack of doorknobs.
I wouldn't be.
Just a tad.
I wouldn't be keen to get hit with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if it's a nice, good quality Broap sack that's gonna be able to hold up for a while. Yeah, you could probably actually. It's almost like a makeshift flail at that point for kind of the mechanics of how you're swinging and hitting things with it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Doorknob, a sock, and a stick, and you got yourself a flail.
You do. You get like a little mace thing happening there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where your helmet will come in handy in there.
There you go.
Do the helmets degrade? They must degrade, do they?
What do?
The helmets. The bike helmets, the motorbike ones.
I mean, if they get hit a bunch, they'll eventually get damaged and break down. But if you're just you know wearing it everywhere, it should be just fine.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh man. Yeah, I saw a little comment about the Star Wars Galaxy stuff. So I think the main feature of Star Wars Galaxies that Smedley was really focusing on was the ability to go build your own base out in the world, maintain it, defend it, make it your base of operations. That was the big thing, not the procedural material generation that would be constantly cycling, and the crafting system that then resulted from that material variation, which I was more looking for myself, but I figure something that's going to be more towards that spirit of Star Wars Galaxies would probably come from a voxel version of the Forge Light engine, something off of Landmark, not something off of PlanetSide 2. So, it definitely does touch on some of the things that Star Wars Galaxies touched on, but I would say there's way better comparisons or ways to kind of compare the game to previous SOE products than saying it's like Star Wars Galaxies and that Star Wars Galaxies fans can finally come home to a SOE game. Maybe it doesn't quite have everything they're looking for, but in a different way. I'm honestly liking it. Jane, why are you sending messages to my bot? You're ridiculous. Now who's the drunk one? Oh man.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
jeez, that's awesome.
Crafting system. It's gonna be pretty cool. So I guess any thoughts or any considerations about the crafting system that we haven't touched on yet? Let's kind of go around the room here. Once again, I'm gonna start with you, Thalius.
I guess with the crafting system, I would like to see something that allows us to build bases and stuff like that. Sort of like what Clegg was doing on his work in progress stream, where we can build concrete walls, concrete barriers, get metal and put up metal tin and walls, and then build your house inside those walls. And of course, a larger team's going to be able to do that a lot quicker and stuff like that. And it would take a lot of resources. But that's really what I want to see from the crafting system, is more on the base building side.
Base building, yeah. We haven't gotten to see too much of it. It almost feels like it's too few resources for some of the things to be built. But it's
And I'm sure they'll adjust that during the early access. It will probably be very simple to craft a lot of stuff during early access for testing purposes, and then once we get stuff tested and they know it's going to work and the uses for it, and that they'll probably make it harder to craft.
Yeah. Well, I think like the Bear Snack Station is probably the only thing they really want people crafting solo. And if anybody's wondering what I'm talking about, we had the little community vote about a month ago on the different little tents and lean-tos that you could potentially craft. And the one that people decided on was basically like this, almost like a triangular sort of thing that you just kind of crawl into. And when I look at it, it's like, oh man, so a bear's just going to come right by and, snatch you up and just make a snack out of you. So it's perfect.
I hadn't thought of that, actually. That's quite good.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can necessarily build everywhere. They had talked about there being limitations for like really steep and angled surfaces, and that's initially why you had to tamp down the ground, but why they eventually decided that all player structures are going to more or less be built on stilts. So that's definitely a good question about where we can actually build. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to build pretty far and wide though, and cover a large area. There'll just probably be a few spots here and there that maybe you need a very specialized building to put it there, or some sort of like, not necessarily terraforming, but some like platform that you put there before you can build further stuff on if it's just too uneven of a ground. But yeah, a lot of space is pretty much okay for building, viable for building. So
I'm not a big fan of the stilts, but I can see why they've done it.
It's technically a lot easier, and it's, I guess, once again, one of those kind of compromises. If they went with the voxel version of the Forge Light engine, that part wouldn't be an issue, but I'm sure having all those AI entities pathing everywhere is going to be a lot more difficult in a voxel world versus a hard set terrain world. All right, Mishap, any thoughts from you on the depth of the crafting system? Any things in particular you want to see out of it or interested in?
Nope. I was going to make my moonshine and live hard.
Make your moonshine.
That is it.
Okay. Well, okay, let's talk about that though. Like, how much of a process do you actually want it to be? Like the farming of the stuff? Do you want people to actually have to go the process of owning a kiln and kilning the grains, getting them all ready, or if you're going with a grain based, or I guess if you're not, you're doing a moonshine with just whatever, huh?
Yeah, like maybe you could get some make a real cheap ass one, grow some potatoes or something and just chuck them in and ferment them and maybe put them in a still, I don't know. It's just nothing too hardcore. Maybe like a 4 or 5 step process to make some moonshine.
I don't, and that's something I wonder about. Is I don't know if potato needs something else to help break down the starch and ferment it. I know rice, you need to kind of throw some blue green algae in there first, or blue green mold or whatever, rather, and it that kind of gets the aspergillus or whatever, it gets the process going, so the carbohydrates can be converted into sugar, so that you can then ferment it. So I don't know if it's the same with potato or not.
Yeah, I don't know. They make it in prison, so it can't be too hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably a lot easier to ferment a sugar solution than it is to take a raw vegetable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
yeah, because I don't know, I could just take some brewer's yeast and some Gatorade and turn that into a fermented drink. It's not going to taste too awesome, but it's definitely going to get you drunk.
It'll do what you want it to do. So, but yeah, as for crafting, I think it'd be cool to see what people can do or how far it can go.
Yeah, Jane, there's processes and other things involved with what makes what kind of alcohol what. There's ultimately, at the end of the day, I think all we are going to be making is more or less moonshine. It's pretty much going to be, I think, it's not really going to be any time to log or anything, not the time nor the resources. So
Perhaps later on down the track they might add more stuff
yeah.
to widen the game.
Single barrel malt whiskey.
Yeah.
I can't see that happening.
Well, that could be something they add later down the road and associate with one of the devs on the team, because they've named a lot of stuff after people there. Now, if it was a different project, there's definitely people I'd be like, all right, that's the person who you named the booze after. But I don't know about the H1Z1 team. I'm sure a lot of folks enjoy booze, but not anyone, specifically more notably than the rest.
Name it after Neural.
Yeah.
Neurobrewtoxin.
Clegg's Kegs, H1Z1
Clegg's
game. Yeah,
Kegs,
that's
there we
isn't
go.
that? I hope they name a pub or something after Clegg, because he did those. Oh, a few months ago he did the diner, and he did some like beer taps. I don't know if you've seen them; they were pretty cool. Had like a bear's head on it and a few others. So.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a diner or something like that.
apples to ferment into stuff. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that does ferment, and it's just going to be what's available for us. Like the berries that we can collect from the bushes. Yeah, you can ferment that. But I'm sure people are going to be using those to make blueberry. Or excuse me, are they blueberry or blackberry?
Blueberry,
I think.
Yes.
Which one? Well, whichever one they are, people are going to make muffins out of them. They're going to make blackberry or blueberry muffins, whichever one it is.
Blackberry muffins? Ew.
Ew. Muffins are
like
delicious.
blackberries.
Anyway, we've kind of taken
Muffins are delicious, but not blackberries.
a bit of a tangent. Krem, what about you and your thoughts on the crafting system?
Well, I've already said I'm really excited about the crafting. I love the discovery. I love everything about it. It's just I don't know exactly what to pinpoint about how good it is, but I just had a really enjoyable experience. And I'm the person that has 10 max level guys in an MMO, and I have 0 crafting skills that are even leveled halfway up. But I really enjoyed doing the crafting, and I could really spend a lot of time at it, just kind of sitting in one place, just learning crafting stuff, and just going out and harvesting and crafting and harvesting and crafting, and not even get bored with it. It was a lot of fun.
In some ways, I think that will be a lot of fun for people if you can just spend some time harvesting and crafting rather than having to spend that time surviving and fending stuff off and running for your life.
Yeah.
That's a good situation to be in for like 30 minutes to just be able to craft and harvest. Yeah. And I think a lot of my thoughts on the crafting system have already been taken in by the team, like the idea of being able to craft with stations, inventories and stuff near you that, if I'm in the kitchen and I've got my cupboard next to me and I'm cooking something, I'm able to access the cupboard and use that as the components in my crafting process. Well, the same sort of thing. If you've got a box with your metal scraps and a box with your wood parts and you're kind of standing between them working on a surface. You'll have access to both of them from what it sounds like. Yeah, I believe they actually implemented that before the team came on the show here, the big group of 8 of them, because they actually confirmed it on the show. So it's that was one of the biggest things for me with crafting, is that you don't carry everything in your backpack. You don't just pull things out of your backpack as you need them to craft. Crafting is something where it requires surfaces, it requires workspace, it requires easy access to the materials, and a lot of different materials sometimes. So I'm really glad that they've actually taken that into consideration, and where it goes from here, I'm really excited, because it's already a really solid crafting system. So we have one last question here from that giant Reddit post. Does it actually work? It sounds like their question is basically, they've played DayZ, and they know a lot of the systems are there, but a lot of the systems are there in a not fully functional state. And they're wondering, well, is H1Z1 going to be in the same boat? Is it not going to be working very well? Is there going to be like zombies going through walls? You come back to your home and there's creatures inside of it, even though the doors never got open. That sort of stuff. They're wondering, is it going to work? And the answer is yes. And the reason why the answer is most definitely yes and not maybe is because we've waited so long, because they made us wait so long for that specific point. The reason why it didn't come out 2 weeks after Smedley said that it could potentially come out, and we talked about this on the last episode of Dead Feature Rant, is that it was a lot more productive to wait on that time and make sure that what we actually finally get to play is a good quality vertical slice of completed gameplay, not a prototype early access sort of thing, kind of like we did with PlanetSide 2 and even a bit with Landmark, where we got into it so early that people would come, see what's there, and then disappear and then not come back for a while. They don't want that with this. They want this to be something that people can start on day one potentially and stick with, or if the first week isn't going so well for them, wait for the bugs to be worked out, but definitely, be waiting for it. It's definitely, I think, a really good idea for the game, a good idea for the project, to have it be solid when people first touch it, because otherwise there's just going to be the negative perception that it's just another DayZ, and a lot of people won't give it a second chance, even though this is, a AAA project from a AAA studio with AAA production practices, and they complete the things they set out to complete. So, yeah, it works. It's not a maybe. It's going to be really, really nice when we get to play it. It's not going to be a piece of crap. It's not going to be broken.
Yeah. I think it is going to be very interesting. Like, for so long, we've had so many EA products that have been just not ready. Or, yes, they are EA, but you would probably expect maybe a little bit more from it than where they were at. And through this process, they've been fairly open in what they are doing, and it's going to be really good to see exactly how good it is. And they've got the right idea with their EA mantra, where let's not create, because they could have thrown this out months ago and it be buggy and have problems and all of that, but they've decided to wait and give us, yes, it's still EA, and yes, there's still bugs, and yes, there's still stuff to work out, but it's a solid platform for them to work from, rather than have something that's so fluid and dynamic that it's not fun for anyone. So I think, well, I have not played it.
The community asked for straight away. They said that they didn't want another DayZ. They don't want a buggy piece of crap, but they wanted something that worked, and that's why it's taken as long as it has. And I think that they've done the right thing.
They don't want a buggy piece of crap?
It's okay. We can make a buggy piece of crap zombie survival game on our own, Crem. Don't worry.
All right, cool. As long
get
as
in on
somebody's making a buggy piece of crap survival MMO.
Yeah. So that more or less gets through the comments from them. I guess any last thoughts on H1Z1 actually working, or the wait for H1Z1, all the reasons for it. Anything at all?
I think it just comes down to the individual person whether they are going to enjoy the game or not, and you won't know until you jump in and give it a go yourself.
If you don't
and
enjoy the
accept
game,
it for
then you're
where
a
it's at.
terrible person.
You don't deserve to be breathing if you don't enjoy the game. Come on.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But no, I think like Thaddeus said, it really is individuals, and some people will accept it and some people won't accept it. So, and it may be like I haven't had the privilege of playing, but it may be that it's so far removed from other games in the genre that it does not feel right. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I think it'd be fantastic, but some people might have this expectation of it, and what they actually get when they play is completely different, and then they may go, "Oh, I don't like this." You know, so I'll wait and see, I think.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So there was one last post that we saw on the Reddit. It was from Xmatic4 that we didn't touch on, from the A1P1 show. And that was basically a question of, is free to play, or does anybody feel like free to play is going to ruin this game? And kind of talking about microtransactions and pay to win and stuff like that. I don't think free to play is going to ruin the game. I think it's actually going to give us people to play with a free to play game. Part of the appeal of it is that the other players are your content, and that, you know, who your content is could potentially be a completely different set of people day to day, because it isn't people that are coming back because they have, you know, a 30-day subscription they're locked into, or I guess more realistically that, you know, they've bought the game, they purchase the client, they play it with their friends every now and then, but they don't you know, check in with it. I think the fact that it's free to play means we're going to be seeing new faces every day, and we're going to be seeing a lot of people coming back throughout the week multiple times to play at different times.
Yeah. There's also the whole time
I think it's
thing, which we're very aware of, where we are. When we play, it's, I don't know, our time, for me personally, 8 p.m. is when I typically play, from 8 till 10 or 11 or 12, typically. You guys are in bed, tucked up, nice and warm, sleeping, you know, so the
right.
Americans aren't there. It's just, and the Europeans are on, but they on the European servers, I'm talking early access, they're on the European servers, we'll be on the North American servers, and the lag's going to kill us anyway, and then there won't be the huge amounts of players that you guys would be experiencing.
Right.
So,
Yeah. But at the same
What
time,
what is sleep though?
I wonder what's
For the
really
week.
going to be opened up to, what regions are going to have access if you guys aren't going to be alone, because, you know, Asia is going to get involved on the same. What the hell was that? On the same servers.
it's the park. I live next door to a park, and I've been wondering what the noises are for the last hour, and now I've just worked it out. Like mowing the lawn at the park. So that's the whippersnapper hitting the fence next to my house.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll be like, what's that noise? No, I just worked it out. Yeah.
Whippersnapper,
apologies.
that's what you call them out there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we call them
Brush cutter.
weed whackers out here.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, you called a weed whacker a whippersnipper?
Yeah, are they called a whippersnipper? I always
Yeah.
knew them as a weed whacker.
Yeah. Well, what do you call it? What do you call it, Thaddeus? You'd know
It's
more.
so adorable.
Whippersnipper or a brush cutter.
Yeah, or brush cutter. That's probably the more professional term. It's a whippersnapper, man. It whips and it snips.
I could see that being like the joke item in H1Z1. The thing that you use is like your interrogation weapon. Is like you put it up to their face and it does like 1 damage per second or whatever. It's like, stop it. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
A brush cutter is a chainsaw. Yeah, I don't know.
You Australians and
It's
your
true.
adorable.
No, chainsaw's it. A chainsaw's a chainsaw.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Pretty sure a chainsaw is a chainsaw.
I would think that a brush cutter would be a hedge trimmer, but you know,
Yeah. I mean, I've always called it a whippersnipper, but some people at work call them brush cutters.
I guess it depends on what kind of brush you're trying to cut.
Graham can't handle it. Yeah, that's clippers.
Yeah. Yes. Regional differences. Creme check. I guess you're getting culture shock right now.
Everyone needs to call it what I call it, or at least make it adorable.
Do we want
if they had. It's fine.
Do we want to know? What did you call it?
I call it a weed whacker, man.
Oh, I thought you called it something even different, like a twirly gig or something.
Nope. A twirly string.
Twirly string.
Motorized twirly string.
Yeah. So, the free-to-play subject. Were there... I guess let's go around real quick. Thalius, your thoughts on the free-to-play, and I guess they're worried that it's potentially going to ruin the game. Do you have any thoughts on free-to-play and its effect on the game one way or another?
I think it's a valid question. We've seen games before that have gone from a paid model to free-to-play, and it has ruined the game. But SOE know what they're doing. PlanetSide 2 is free-to-play, isn't it? So it's not something that they're new to, and they've done it before, so they know what they're doing. And I don't have any qualms about it. So.
Smed just posted today that PlanetSide 2 has only started really being profitable maybe a few months ago, and they're only getting like $200 a day. So,
I'll take it.
I think H1Z1 will probably be doing a little bit better than that, but it depends on also what kind of price points and what kind of things are offered. But it works. I mean, they've got worst case scenario at the end of the year. If they're in the red, Sony, mega corporation is able to be like, oh, here's a pittance, and you're good. So,
can I just butt in though?
yeah,
They are going to get paid next week, no doubt.
that's
But,
true.
SOE are going to get paid. This game, I believe, won't cost them anything to make. So that for them is a plus, and then the free-to-play model will just be profit. So that's my thought.
I mean,
Do you think they're going to make up everything that they've spent on developing the game with just the box sale? Or with just
for
the
sure.
EA?
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
think so.
Yeah. You ready?
it's pretty likely.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's usually usually MMOs don't really make up what they use for development just in the box sale.
Well, development cost versus, what the box sales are going to be looking like. I think if 25,000 people get it, that's, they're in pretty decent.
I just did some quick math on the calculator, and if 25,000 people buy the $20 SKU, I'm going base here, that's $500,000.
Yeah.
How much did it cost? Have they released how much did it cost them?
How much did it cost to pay the employees and do the upkeep and maintenance on, that part of the SOE office for the past year? Could be as much as 500,000.
Very nice, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people on the team that are probably getting paid more than QA people, so I would imagine, they're, if not going to be a full recoup of the cost, it's still going to be a pretty good chunk. But meanwhile, it was an investment that I'm sure they've been able to, wiggle and futz and fiddle and write off and all that sort of stuff in different ways. So, and yeah, I'm sure it probably will end up being more than 500K on, in the first week. This would be a weird sort of thing. I wonder if this is going to break any records for early access sales on day one.
Rust made millions and millions of dollars just off a early access prototype. So if H1Z1 really takes off, I think that they will easily make more than what they've put into it, especially if it stays at that price over the whole entire early access, so let's say a year of sales, I think that they will definitely make their money back.
On top of station cash purchases people make during early access.
Exactly.
And that's another interesting thing is how station cash purchases are going to translate from early access to live, if it's going to be like they've done with Landmark and PlanetSide 2, or if everything is going to be refunded and you get a fresh copy of everything. Krem, what were you going to say?
So, you're saying you think everything combined is right around 500,000 to develop the game, to pay the staff, to upkeep the building, to do all of that kind of stuff? Because that seems way low to me.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying
I
is
agree.
they will up till now that 500 grand will recoup what they've got. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
It'll probably help recoup the past year for the most part, but I'm just talking 500,000 in the first week. Like, they're going to be continuing to sell copies of early access, during all of early access.
Right.
I actually wonder if there's going to
And then
be
you had your second SKU in there for what, $40?
Yeah.
So
You got to expect most people will buy the $20 version, though.
I don't know.
There's going to be the hardcores that buy the 40. I'm buying the 40. I know a lot of people that are going to buy the 40. But I would say the majority of people are probably going to buy the 20.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And you know what?
It'll average out probably to about $22 to $25 per.
While we're talking about the subject, let's do our giveaway. I see Papa's Launch is the person who might be winning. Now they have a minute to respond, otherwise somebody else will be the winner. But yeah. And once again, early access isn't available to pre-order yet. Anybody, it's not going to be available until early access is actually in our hands and playable, and that's Steam policy, because last year was kind of a weird year with some indie projects, and some things were offered and early accesses were sold for games that weren't released. Steam had to kind of put their foot down on that, even though Sony's a AAA company and they don't have to go through Greenlight to get their games up. It doesn't matter. Early access policy.
Rules are
early
rules.
Access. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to start
Rules are
breaching that
rules.
now. Maybe in a year or two down the road they'll start making exceptions to that, but they just made that rule a few months ago. They're not going to be switching it up. Oh my goodness. Papa's Launch has been taken by the zombies.
No.
Bologna Pony has also been taken by the zombies. Kitty 1317. Cats are pretty nimble. They're pretty good about avoiding zombies. So I think that kind of covers everything from the Reddit stuff. Were there any last thoughts on the free-to-play stuff? I think, Mishap, we got to you. Kremcheck, did you need to say anything else on the subject?
Well, I don't know if it's the minority or the majority, but I actually, I like the subscription plans and such, because I know what I'm getting, and I'm getting a full game that I'm not going to have to buy anything, and there's no pay to win, there's no blah 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 whatever. I think what the game that broke my the game that made it so I didn't like free to play. It was Lotro, Lord of the Rings Online, because I never knew what I was getting. Even though I had a subscription, I never knew what I was able to do, because they had all these different tiers of things and all these different, you had to buy this to get this, blah, blah, blah. And that was all throughout the whole game. I had no idea what I was doing or what I was getting. And I know that it's getting better. The free-to-play market is getting better. People are realizing that you can't screw over the consumer with your free-to-play stuff generally. And I think SOE's on the forefront of doing that right. But I would just rather it be $15 a month and just know what I'm getting right off the bat, to be honest.
I get you. See someone saying
The end.
Arcades was that game for me.
Yeah.
That Arcades was that game for a lot of people, but I do know a lot of people that are really happily playing it too. So it is what it is. I tried it out. It's like, yeah, I could definitely see this being enjoyable without having to spend money, but I can totally see places where it gets way more enjoyable if you open up the wallet. So that is it for the kind of Reddit stuff from the A1P1 show that we didn't quite get through, and we didn't have to spend as much time on it. But wanted to get through it all and kind of
We tried.
yeah address all the
Half-assed.
subjects there. Oh man, you guys had a lot on your plate though, for sure.
Oh, we had been like 4 or 6 weeks. I can't remember. It was a long time since we'd done a show. We had so much to get through. Yeah,
I think it had been 4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be getting back to, okay, so about a month ago now, there was a Q&A. It was about an hour long, and we've been picking at some of the details from that for the past few episodes. We're only up to 18 minutes and 30 seconds into the video. We can totally speed around this stuff. In fact, I kind of think that would be a good policy. If there's anything you guys want to pause and talk about in any depth and detail, let me know. I'm just going to kind of be going down the list and giving a little kind of short description of what the item is.
Lightning round.
Lightning round. This is some real slow lightning here. So, character creation isn't very in-depth. They plan for a limited lifespan for gameplay in general. So, why would it matter what you do to Barbie up your character if they're going to be dead in 5 minutes anyway? Makes sense to me.
Yep.
Yes, purchases using station cash will be possible. I didn't think that was ever a question, but apparently someone asked. Female characters is something that we've heard plenty enough detail on. So the current character we have, I think Ivan, this is his name, is a white dude because they needed to use a head scan and base the character model around that. The head scan they had available was Billy Yates, so white dude. That's how it happened. We'll have all the variation of gender, race, and all of that stuff later down the road, but for right now, white dude. That's just fine. We just need something. That's what a vertical slice of gameplay is. You don't have all 50 of everything. You have one of everything, and build up from there. Just enough to kind of see what the game is like and understand about it. DJ Spankman, what do you mean? Yeah, you can change your appearance every time if you want to, but there isn't really that much to change. It's like your hair, your face, and maybe what clothes you're wearing, and that's about it.
Yeah. Generally, survival games aren't huge on character customization. There's just no reason to do that. This isn't a game where you're trying to look pretty and stuff. You're just trying to survive, and you're not gonna.
Well, all the different draw calls to have all the different facial features and stuff render properly versus having the people's gear represented properly on their body. Like, what thing are they really emphasizing? What thing do they want to make more efficient? Do they want, pretty faces but 20% less players, or faces are kind of stock models but we can have more people? I want more people, so
yeah, for sure.
It makes sense to keep the options limited there.
Ziller says, "Oh, you'll be dead in 5 minutes anyway." Terrible attitude perspective for a survival game. It's not though. That is the perspective for a survival game.
Is that reality? That's reality.
Well, 5 minutes is an average because you'll die in 30 seconds and you'll die in an hour and you'll die in 30 seconds 5 more times, then you'll die in an hour, and those eventually it'll kind of get close to 5 minutes. I'm just saying a number. I think the average lifespan will probably be a lot longer than that. It'll probably take 5 minutes just to find something to kill you. So I'm not too worried about people surviving initially, and it's more just the idea that we're not going to be keeping the characters that long. They're not going to be that memorable or anything. They're not growing beards and long hair and long fingernails or anything like that to discern that they've been alive for that long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, DJ
What's the whole?
Spinkman. Look, DJ Spinkman. I get what you're saying. This is basically like a puzzle game you can never win, surviving an H1Z1. Eventually, something's going to happen. You get shot in the head, you run out of food, you catch the H1Z1 virus, you're in your house, and Smedley lights the forest on fire, and there's no way for you to get out without getting cooked. You know, whatever. Something's going to kill you at some point. That's the nature of the game. Generally, it's going to be a shorter lifespan. Sometimes it'll be a longer lifespan. You know, it might be a really good run. You could be like Hayshaker and have the whole convoy backing you up. Hayshaker's probably basically invulnerable unless somebody rolls up and shoots him in the head. You know, there's nothing really stopping someone from doing that short of I guess common courtesy. So yeah. So planes and airdrops. Yes, there's going to be airdrops. Airdrops are going to be neat. And as for being able to fly the planes on our own, maybe somewhere down the road, initially, yeah, you are, hey Shaker, Jane. That did happen. The idea that we could actually be the ones flying, for one thing, is a hazard because we know from Adam Clegg's tenure on Planet Side 2, he just can't land an aircraft, especially the drop ships. It became a meme, like, early in the game's production, clegging it up, not being able to land the drop ship in any reasonable way. The last time I saw him try to land on one of those on an airpad, he was coming down. He actually made contact with the airpad, coming down at vertical 35 kph, and well, it just kind of crashed and burned and tumbled after that. So, you know, he worked on the game and he couldn't fly and land the damn things. You think the players are going to be doing any better? Well, yes, we are, because a lot of us played PlanetSide 2 and we know how to fly the vehicles from that. But they're also they would actually have to add another mechanic, because unless all we're getting are helicopters and Harriers, we would actually need runways for takeoffs and landings. And that is adding a new mechanic to H1Z1 that we wouldn't have in any previous Forge Light Engine game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Operation Possum Bear, it's definitely possible. They didn't do beards right now because the rigging and animation for anything beyond a 5 o'clock shadow is really getting above and beyond what they want to do right now. They'll probably have beards and long hair and that sort of stuff later down the road, but for right now, they've got much bigger things to focus on. The map needs to grow for flyable planes. I don't know. I would imagine if I pick up a plane on one corner of the area, I would consume quite a bit of fuel, if not having to actually touch down and refuel before I get to the other end. And I'm not saying that you know, a plane can't fly 8 kilometers or 8 with a radical 2 kilometers, because you're going across the diagonal to have to run out of fuel that quickly. I'm just saying they might do something like that. You only get that much fuel at a time because it's just not that much fuel to fuel up with, and planes do kind of burn it quickly. But yeah, the world.
Also, just on that, the PlanetSide 2 maps, when you fly in them, which is from what we discussed on our show, the same size initially, the 8x8. When you fly a craft in PlanetSide 2, it takes a long time to get anywhere. Like, it will feel like you have flown a distance if they do include that early access.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can fully understand running out of fuel.
Yeah.
Or needing to refuel.
It's a long distance. It's not a little short thing. I mean, once again, 8 kilometers versus, intercontinental flight. Yeah, but that's a different sort of thing. You're not flying a Cessna over to Asia from California. That doesn't...
Airbus 380.
Yeah. Yeah, so... the scope and scale of things is definitely be a part of it. But I think the earliest form of flight that we will have, hang gliders. They've talked about hang gliders, the physics and mechanics to make one work. Probably not that tough. They probably already have one pretty close to working, if not already, from Landmark, because that's one of the earlier vehicles they've talked about for that. So the idea for it working is in place. they've definitely been messing with it, and it is just kind of taking. It's almost an idea of basically just taking the bullet mechanics and giving yourself a self-guidance feature, which it'd basically be like taking the Phoenix missile from PlanetSide 2 and just accessing it differently. So the idea that they could do that, it's there. They could do it. So zombies, knocking down doors, knocking down walls, destroying player structures. That's a good thing.
For sure, 100%. They need to be a threat.
Absolutely.
They're not just going to come and knock on the door. Excuse me, can I come in? They know who can. They're going to be trying to get into. So that's cool. They need to be able to damage things and knock things down. I'd freak out. What if I had nothing? Shut the door. I run into a house, shut the door, freaking out. I've got nothing. I've been alive 4.5 minutes, and these dudes, zombies, trying to get in the front and back doors. I'm like, that would be freaky. It'd be cool to know that they are going to break the door down and they are going to come in.
Yeah, when you first started saying about that, it made me think of the scene from Pulp Fiction where JT gets gunned down on the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah, but no, the idea that you actually have to be quiet. You can't just barricade yourself in. Then you have to be quiet and turn the lights off and stop moving. Is definitely a feature that really makes sense. Now I saw a comment about the some height and weight sliders for H1Z1. I don't know what that would do for the hitboxes. Definitely later down the road they'll probably have different body types. Someone who maybe looks a little more pudgy, or maybe somebody who's got like tattoos and scars and stuff, and they're maybe a different kind of leanness to them. But I really don't think they need that stuff initially. Just later down the road it'd be nice to have that sort of variation. Ultimately we still are starting the game as James Bond MacGyver, the most fit and capable person. They can use anything, they can craft anything from just random weird materials and make the perfect version of it. You could take some sticks and some string out in the forest and make a quality bow and arrow out of it. It's like who could do that but James Bond MacGyver? So
I can.
That's no, you can't. I know.
I used to make bamboo ones when I was a kid. They didn't fly very well, but I used to make one.
Yeah, that's the thing is we're not crafting like makeshift bow and makeshift arrow. We're crafting a decent bow and decent arrows with our bare hands out in the wild. So, extrapolating that to the appearance of the character, I would imagine they're already going to look pretty fit and in pretty good shape. The only real differences I could see maybe being the face and the hair, and aside from that, a little bit maybe pudgier, maybe as much of 1 or 2 inches, like a plus or minus 1 variation for height. But things that are going to make somebody more visible or less visible are definitely things that they don't want to have. So being able to make yourself rail thin and short is essentially you're giving yourself a huge advantage if you do that in H1Z1. And I don't think they want that for people. So it's a balancing act, the realism versus making sure that everything's different and interesting. Ultimately, I think what everybody's going to be wearing is going to be different enough, and when gameplay starts getting good, more or less everybody's going to have a helmet or a bandana or something on at all times, so their face is going to be obscured anyway. So I don't really think that stuff is going to matter too much, honestly. The gear you're wearing probably means way more than how your character actually looks.
Right.
For sure.
Lockers to store gear. Yes.
So is that in-game or out-of-game where you can store stuff?
I believe it's going to be just in-world lockers and I don't think it's going to be a like a vault style thing where you open it in one place and it's the same contents as everywhere else in the world. It's going to be, this is a physical location.
Site specific.
Yeah, you've stuffed your jersey and your jock piece or your cod piece and jock strap and all that stuff, and you put your
gimp mask,
your hockey equipment in there or whatever. That kind of locker. It's You come back to it when it's time for game time. You put all your gear on and go bash some heads. Cereal. Cereal, what the hell? Graham, I keep seeing all this talk in chat. You need to go or something?
Graham needs to go. He needs to go potty.
Yeah, I need to do something angrily, but I'll be okay.
Okay. Well, good. All right. That's going to be weird for the YouTube video. Sorry, everybody. All right. Swimming. Right now we have surface swimming. We don't have swimming into the depths, which is a plus and a minus for right now. On the minus side, stuff that's down in the depths, we're not going to be able to access. If something throws something in the water, you're not really going to be able to get it unless it floats. On the other hand, it means that there's not zombies that will pull you down underwater from below you. So there's always that. You can be swimming and there might be piranhas biting at your nuts, but at least it's not a zombie that's just going to pull you down and drown you. So,
Oh, jeez.
swimming. I mean, what do you guys think about swimming? Do you think it's really even necessary initially, or just because we do have water, it makes sense to have a way to pass it?
I think piranhas biting your nuts probably isn't the best thing.
I think, yeah, if there's water there, why can't I cross it? Why can't I swim? If I can swim, why can't I? It kind of breaks immersion for me when I run up to a lake, but then I have to run around it simply because there's an invisible wall there and I can't swim across it.
Because your
I know
cat
when I
can't
was
let your
playing-
paws get wet.
Yeah. I think.
Or you could do the SWOTOR thing and make it so everything is only like knee deep, which I don't like either.
Yeah, no, that's not cool.
That doesn't even make sense for boats.
Yeah.
We're not going to really see
Well,
much more than just canoes and stuff initially. Maybe little paddle boats. The ones where you basically work the pedal boat rather. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. I was on one just the other day.
Nice. Those are fun.
Yeah. Hard work, man.
I could. Oh yeah.
2 seats and only one person's working. It's not fun.
Well, the best is when the other person goes in reverse, so you're just going in a circle.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That was actually the most technical animation in all of the show King of the Hill that I can think of, is one of those swan boats rotating in place. Because it was hand-drawn animation. That's actually kind of tough to do like that.
Was that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So,
Yeah, it was, tough stuff. Bit of a tangent. So, the losing items on death. Yes, when you die, your inventory is lost to you. You can come back to the location where you died, provided that... Well, you can always go back to the location you died, but provided that it wasn't... your body wasn't accessed by a zombie, and your equipment wasn't accessed by players, your loot will still be there waiting for you, possibly in a damaged and degraded state. But if a zombie gets to your corpse before it degrades, your equipment will then be dispersed on that and other zombies in the area. And of course, if another player gets to your stuff, well, the good stuff's gone.
yeah. Which is fair. I mean, that's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
There have been times where I've been playing the DayZ mod and we've found a helicopter or something and we've got it working, and then I'll give all of my stuff to somebody else to hold on to, and then I'll fly the helicopter and then die. Usually it's a plane, actually, because I can't fly the planes. And then I'll die and have to find them again, run back and get my gear.
It's funny.
So there are ways around it if you're working with more than yourself.
Yeah. I wonder
Whether
if that-
someone's going to sit and wait by your gear for you to come back or not is a different story.
Well, that's an interesting thing, the idea of being able to take a backpack with all of its items off and just leave the whole container in full on the ground.
I hope that's
Or bury it.
a possibility.
Or bury it, yeah.
Yeah, but those... Oh, yeah. Those you know how you can bury stuff? It's only like 2 slots, yeah? That you can bury
I'm not
into.
sure.
So is a backpack more than 2 slots?
Every
Or it might be
item.
that it's 4.
You see, that's kind of the funny thing. It's only a 1 slot item. Every item only takes up 1 slot, but it's
Yeah.
a container that kind of you normally think that has different consideration. But then again, you can have chests inside chests inside chests and landmark, and they don't seem to care. So I don't know. Maybe
Right.
you can get away with burying a backpack. But it seems like something just to be able to like sit down for a moment and have your buddies keep watch over while you go out and do something dangerous, or
Yeah,
even
maybe there's. Yeah. Sorry, go.
different.
It would make
bags.
sense to be able to bury a backpack that's full of stuff.
Yeah,
It wouldn't really make sense, though, to be able to fill up a backpack and then put that inside another backpack, build that up, and then put that inside another backpack, and so
that'd
on.
be a little weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Miss App, what were you gonna say?
I don't know.
Oh,
I have no idea.
so the
I was going to say something, but
the other thing I was going to say is what it also gives the option for is if you've got your little home base established, you can have packs of, ready-made gear sets available. So it's like in this room we store the combat kits when people are attacking us. Grab one of those and you're good. When you're going out, harvesting resources out in the world, you go with, this set of kits. If you're doing maintenance around the base, you go with this set of kits. So people will basically, you come back to your home base and just drop your bag or whatever, or sort it out later, or leave it with the person that's in charge of inventory, and you pick up the bag that you need and just go right back out in the world.
And again, that would make sense because you can put a full backpack into a chest, and I suppose they'd have to do something with the size or something so that you can't put 10 backpacks that are full into another backpack, whereas you might be able to put them into a box or a chest because it's bigger and can hold that.
Yeah, definitely. That would be a nice consideration if there's a different type of inventory space consideration that's actually allowed to take containers versus normal spaces that don't. That would be really
And I really like that idea of having different backpacks that are ready to go for different situations. That's an awesome idea.
you could even have it to make your clan more appealing to a new player by saying, well, if you come with us, we'll give you a pack full of some gear ready for you to start out, so you don't have to scrounge around and get it. For the established groups,
Love it.
that would be really
Mhm.
quite appealing for them.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess one other thing is if they decide to go the route of variation on containers, like a backpack that has the water bottles, just on the sides, that the access time for a water bottle is faster. Or likewise, if you've got a hatchet that's hanging on an access loop, you don't have to spend as long to get to it. You just grab it and it's there. I could see that sort of stuff going into it, or otherwise like a police utility belt sort of thing, so you can access your magazines and reload real quickly. Have the holster just right there for being able to draw it quickly. Having all of your tools basically in really quick access. Definitely love to see that sort of stuff. Further play on with the container and inventory system. All right. So we know there's a lot of animals. We know there's rabbits, there's deer, there's wolves, there's bears, there's ravens, there's fish, and I believe those are rainbow trout. And we've seen the model for chickens, but we haven't really seen them other than that first initial showing of the model.
Yeah. It's been pretty quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Do I need to make a coop to hold a chicken, or can I just...
That's a good question.
go.
I don't really know what the considerations are going to be for chickens.
Do I get eggs?
Yeah, that would make sense if you can have chickens to be able to set up something so you'd be able to collect eggs, or they just leave eggs around in the world and you just have to follow them around and find their stash.
And again, that's been asked on Reddit about
Follow them
being
around.
able to farm animals, have a pig pen or something like that, having chickens and harvesting eggs from them and meat from them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had a really
And
nasty
breeding
thought.
as well.
I just had a really nasty thought. Imagine a chicken running into a bear trap and setting it off. it would be messy. Clean up aisle 4.
Yeah,
Aisle
yeah.
4.
It'd be tough to eat at that point because all the, feathers and everything would just be mashed into the rest of it.
Yeah.
Unless it was
Kinda
a
wanna
really
see it
small
happen
chicken
next.
and it just managed to behead itself. Then it's like, perfect.
Oh,
It did
it's
the work
running
for
around.
me.
yeah.
Sega Saturn. No, Michael Flatley. It won't be on Sega Saturn. It's not going to run on Commodore 64. It's not going to run on the
What
NES.
about? Yeah.
Not
What
on the
about the
Super
Amiga?
Famicom either. Not on an Amiga. Amiga,
Oh.
I bet you could probably hack an Amiga. But, oh, why is that raffle thing still going? That's actually closed. We actually already did a giveaway, everybody. Sorry. Kitty1317 was our winner. In fact, you know what? I am just going to shut off the bot because it's totally tricking you guys right now.
AR-45H.
Suckers!
He already won one from me. Oh, I don't know if I told him. AR-45H won one for me the other day.
Whoa, what a great time to learn about it.
Congratulations!
Nero's trolling the chat with the giveaway.
Yeah, no, the giveaway
Yeah.
already happened. No, them trolling themselves with it. I already closed it and did the giveaway. Oh, man.
Kitty mentioned in there also about being able to tame wolves. Has anything more been said about that? Because I know it was talked about a lot.
Yeah,
in
they
the
joked
early
about
stages.
it. They said, yeah, go try to tame a wild animal. See how well it does.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
So I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it would be maybe finding like some wayward golden retriever and adopting it as your pet rather than finding some random feral predator and be like, oh, you want a piece of meat? I'm gonna call you Squishy. Ah, my face.
I thought you
Smed
were a
did
nice
confirm
kitty.
pets, didn't he?
Yeah.
You're not a cat.
In
You're a
the
dog.
Q&A.
Yeah.
What was that?
Did Smed confirm pets in the Q&A? I think something was mentioned about
Yeah,
it.
they had talked about the idea
Yeah.
of being able to have pets, but it's not going to be taming wild animals. It's probably going to be something different.
Right. Yep.
That could be one of the rewards
I
for
don't
what's it called, for participating in battle royale and stuff.
I don't want to have responsibility.
But again, would that make it pay to win
in real
because you've got perhaps an extra container and something that might protect you, such as a dog that would protect you in real life and stuff like that?
No, because you can earn tickets through gameplay.
Yep.
That's the one
Sure.
thing. Anything that you give people the ability to access through gameplay in a reasonable way, it's not pay to win to also make it purchasable, unless it's something ridiculous like you're in the middle of a duel with somebody, you can buy invulnerability for 30 seconds. Like that would be bad in any game. That would be terrible. So yeah. I think they're going to be trying to keep things more reasonable, and most of what we'll be able to get with that's going to improve our ability to actually survive in the world is stuff that is going to be available without having to spend real world money. You might be able to make it easier with station cash, but it's really hard to say, and it's probably going to be hard to know the answer on that one. Probably for a few months. It's going to be a little bit before they've got all of that stuff worked out.
Yeah.
All right. So, weather. Weather is, I think, the last one we're going to talk about here today. Weather is a big deal. It's great. It looks great, and it's going to be functional. You're going to actually have to deal with the weather. If it's a really hot day and you're wearing a hot jacket, yeah, you're going to get a heat stroke. If it's really, really cold and you're just wearing a short sleeve t-shirt, yeah, you're going to get frostbite. These things are going to happen. You actually need to seek shelter. You actually need to, take the conditions of your character into account. You can't just be, running around all willy-nilly. Oh, it's raining. I'm going to run around in the rain. Oh, sing in the... Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. You're like, shit, it's fucking raining. All right, well, there go all the torches. Got to find another light source. There goes everything being dry. I better find some shelter, otherwise I'm going to catch cold. As soon as the rain starts up, basically everybody has to stop what they're doing and deal with it. Same with snow.
Yeah.
Yep. The one
As
thing
long
I
as they
will
do it
say on
right.
that is
Thalias, you start.
you go.
One,
you go.
as long as they do it right. In DayZ, rain can be a real pain in the bum because it just goes on and on and on, and you're sitting there, waiting for it to stop, and it just never seems to stop.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. There's a lot of things that reminds me of, actually, and I could definitely see that being an issue where sustained rain for a period of time makes it hard to recover from what kind of got stopped when the rain initially started. If it's like literally a real world week before the rain stops on a server, just because that's how the weather pattern was going on, that server is going to be weird compared to all the rest of them. The what's been built up over the past week, migration patterns of the animals and the zombies and the players, what items are more and less available in different areas, what things have been prioritized in crafting. It would be a huge difference, and it would probably be a lasting impact that would probably stay around for well over a week after.
I don't
Yeah,
think
the flow
with
on would be
H1Z1 won't be too much of a problem because you've got other stuff that you can do. You've got your discovery system with your crafting. You can craft, or there's a few other things that you can do whilst you're waiting for the rain to stop. Whereas in other games, there is pretty much nothing that you can do. You just got to sit there and wait it out.
Yep. You got to deal with it. I like that. I mean, that's going to make things... I just wonder if it's going to be something that would be that harsh that if the rain's going for more than 2 days, people are like, screw it, go into a different server. Well, let me know when it stops.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people will do that. Again, it's raining again. I still haven't found that jacket. I can't play. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah. Rather than
I'm going where it's sunny.
toughen it out. I mean, like, okay, well,
Yeah.
maybe I can't survive more than a little bit, but I can sure kill a bunch of people. KOS!
Yeah. Do you have that jacket I need? Give it up.
Yeah. Well, not even that. It's, oh, I see another person. Bam, 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 bam. You just run up
They're
and
from
start
behind. They don't even see you. You just start waiting on some
Yeah.
dude.
Apparently, if you hit with that uppercut, it's huge damage. So definitely be good with your combos. All right, so we are pretty much at the end of our time here. I gotta say, it was great having you guys on. It was great being on A1P1 over the weekend with you guys. It's
Yeah,
a
it
lot of
was.
fun. Welcome back. I'm glad to see you guys back in action with the show.
Thanks. It's good to be here. Finally on your show. Doing it again. So feels like we were just here. So it's cool.
Yeah, and I guess let's start the wrap up process here. Why don't you guys let everybody know who you are, where they can find you, what you're going to be up to, what you're about, and then we'll be moving this party on to the next place. So Thalias, why don't you? I've been just kind of starting with you. Why don't we just start over there again?
If you want to find me, I'm at Thal69 on Twitter, or you can check out our A1P1 podcast channel. We do stream a little bit from there as well. If Mishap's streaming, I'll jump in with him. My computer's not really great for handling streaming, so I'm not doing that very much at the moment. Every second week, I do jump on the PlayStation 4 and stream from there. If I'm on, hasn't happened recently, but I will be starting doing that again. So, yeah, PlayStation 4 I do stream a little bit, but PC probably won't be for another few months before I can start streaming there. But, yeah, hit me up on Twitter if you want to hit me up, and, yeah.
Very cool. And how about you, Mishap?
Well, my Twitter handle is PS2_geezer, which is usually where I tweet from, or the A1P1 podcast handle, which I think is A1P1_podcast for Twitter. Like Thaddeus said, I often stream from the A1P1 podcast just when I'm streaming games, which is typically maybe once or twice a week, so it's not very often. It's when I can be bothered. It's pretty much for me. Myself and Thaddeus, we have the A1P1 podcast, which is every fortnight. And we just did one last Sunday, so it'll be another 2 weeks before we do the next one, which will be just after release. So that'll be a fairly topical podcast, which is good. And that is usually at 8 p.m. Australian Central Daylight Time. So it's 1:30 a.m. Pacific Time. So if you can hang around for that, it's not serious. We just joke around and have a bit of fun. So if you want to join us there. We try to get guests on when I don't screw it up, which happened last time. You don't want to know. It was a mess. It was a fail. Anyway, so if we do have a guest on, like from SOE or a dev, we do a special stream for them because I like devs and their time is important. Not that yours isn't, guys, but
They're working on the project.
Like us.
I mean, I'm working on the project too, but that's a completely different scope, completely different company, and I actually have time off right now. I'm not scheduled. I'm not working right now, so it's a little bit different because they are either working or, more likely, when you guys have the show going, they're sleeping. I saw Tom Schenk hang out in the show once, and that's awesome. He often comes through here, but I imagine right now they are all literally 100% all hands on deck and just don't have any time for anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite funny, that show with Tom Schenk. That was quite a good show, that one.
Yeah.
And I think even he rolled on in and out, so it was quite funny. Yeah. But again, it's late for you guys.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. And Reverend Kremchek, I know you're looking to wrap up here, so why don't you give everybody your news and details?
Literally.
Yeah, I'm Reverend Kremchek. I'm doing a 96-hour stream on January 15th to kick off H1Z1. As long as it stays up for that time frame, I will be playing it during that time frame. Either way, my stream will be active for the first 4 days H1Z1 is out. That's Thursday through Sunday. That'll be pretty awesome. We'll be doing a bunch of game giveaways. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I am planning to give away 100 games in 96 hours, as long as I can get the right deals. I'm not going to spend $500 to do it, but as long as I can get the right deals, that's what I plan to do. So hit my follow button.
Do it, everybody. Dude streams like mad. All the streaming I was doing last year, Kremchek's taking it up. What was that?
I can't believe they haven't done it. If they were in the chat, they should have done it already.
Yeah, probably should have.
Some people.
Some people. All right, and I am your host, Legendary Neurotoxin, coming at you here this week and every week with Dead Feature Rant, Live Feature Rant, Content and Creations, Theory Forge, and just some various shows here and there throughout the week. You might see me partying like it's 1998 here sometime pretty soon. It's been kind of an interesting sort of thing, but we are going to bring this party over to EchoX. Now, EchoX is somebody who I got a chance to meet at SOE Live 2014. She is a big-time DayZ streamer, and you can imagine she's going to be playing a hell of a lot of H1Z1 too. So we will see you all over there on EchoX channel. Throw a Dead Feature raid over there, and we will see ya. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
So, yep.